Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 48 of Brat Said That. 47, I don't know. This is how prepared I am. Already messing up. 2 minutes into the show. Anyway, I am your host, Brat Jaxon, with my co-producer, Brad LGBT. Raw just ended. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I certainly did. You know, we had a great weekend. Me and Babe, we went out. I had the best cheeseburger I've ever had in my life. I've had a lot of cheeseburgers. You know, more than 10, less than 1,000. But that was the best cheeseburger I ever had. So shout out to Lazy Dog Restaurant. You know, if you want to sponsor the show, you can, or cater the show. But wow, that was a good cheeseburger. That was a good meal, and we're ingesting that. We're almost full because WrestleMania is just around the corner. Less than 30 days now. Less than 27 days. We got to go through it. Raw just ended, but we haven't been on since SmackDown. We're going to talk a little bit about SmackDown, go to Raw, and then have a couple fun little activities to do today. But enjoy, because we are going to talk about SmackDown. Where to start? Well, we're going to start at the top of the show. Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, they were going to have a singles match, one-on-one, but they kept brawling and beating each other up. And I think that's going to lead to them at WrestleMania, because that makes the most sense. You know, if you're not going to have the one-on-one on SmackDown, just wait a couple weeks, do it for SmackDown, WrestleMania. Oh, great, my mouse is messing up. We have new WWE Tag Team Champions, and it's not the MFTs. It's not the Wyatt Six. It's a finally new tag team of Damian Priest and R-Truth. Yes, a new, fresh, new tag team in the SmackDown tag team world. I think that's going to lead to WrestleMania. Damian Priest, R-Truth versus, you know, MFT versus Wyatt Six. Put in Motor City Machine Guns. Put on Axiom. Get all the tag teams on there. That's what I want to see. Speaking about Motor City Machine Guns and Faxium, the Motor City Machine Guns defeated Faxium in a tag team match. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Alex Shelley is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. When I did the wrestles, I took basically his entire moveset. So, Border City Stretch, the Skull Crush that Stephanie Vasquer does, Alex Shelley and myself did that 15 years ago. I don't think Booker T would want to see me do that now, but what else does he do? Just so much. I love Alex Shelley. I'm glad him and Chris Sabin, of course, are in the WWE. Aleister Black defeated Sami Zayn. Now, what are they going to do at WrestleMania? Is it going to be Black, Zayn, Trick Williams? What's going to happen? There's a lot of fresh faces that need that WrestleMania match. Carmella Hayes defeated Ilya Dragunov to retain the United States Championship. Now, is Carmella Hayes going to be on the WrestleMania card? He's somebody that deserves to be. I know I don't like using that word, but he deserves to be. By the way, it planes in the background because all the craziness with the TSA and everything. I don't have a theme for the show today. We'll get to the overall thumbnail of the show, but, you know, planes. They're cool. They're in the sky. Jelly Roll once again made an appearance. Him and Kit Wilson going word for word. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with WrestleMania, but do a little segment. I don't think you got to have Jelly Roll in a match, you know. You can have Jelly Roll, Kit Wilson. You are toxic, and Jelly Roll can beat up Kit Wilson, but, you know, just do a little segment with those two. This I'm actually really excited for because it just led over to Raw. The Irresistible Forces, great name. Nia Jax, Last Legend, versus the Bella Twins. No contest, still the tag team champions, the Irresistible Forces. Now, they got challenged tonight by Layla Valkyria and Bayley. So, you know it's going to bleed over to WrestleMania. We're hyping WrestleMania, and you got 4 or 5 of those teams going at it. Perfect. And then Randy Orton, he hears voices in his head, and it's like 2009 all over again. He demolished Matt Cardona, beat him up. I don't like seeing Matt Cardona in a spot like that. I wanted to bring Matt Cardona back to the WWE and have him like the indie god. Push him up to that, not main event just yet. The United States title or something. But I'm really looking forward to Orton versus Cody Rhodes. I'm looking forward to the main event of night 2 between Punk and... I'm just looking forward to WrestleMania season, especially since it's in my backyard. But like I said, Raw just ended. We got to talk about Raw. It is official. Pretty sure it's official. WrestleMania. We're going to see Ovechkin taking on the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Oh, it's always been official. That was one of the matches that was official. But yeah, Ovechkin versus Brock Lesnar. Once again, Oba got the best of Brock. I hear, that the WrestleMania match is going to be quick, short, to the point. But I want to see, have it go 5 or 6 minutes. Doesn't have to be extremely long. Do you want Oba to go over? Do you want Brock to go over? No. Brock's going to retire within the next 2 or 3 WrestleManias. If a WrestleMania was in Minnesota, he would probably retire there. Or, he might retire next year when it's in Saudi. But it's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. And then Brock tried, and Oba once again tried to... Oba stood tall. Oba stood tall. And now those two are going to go... Those big, beefy boys are going to go at WrestleMania and battle it to see who is the... it is the ruler versus the beast. They had a whole... match card, 6'4", 6'5". Imagine if I was 6'5". Jeez. Becky Lynch, AJ is official for WrestleMania for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. I was kind of hyped for this. I wasn't hyped so much. They cut a promo. Becky Lynch, she's the best. It's not me saying it. Sports Illustrated saying it. Bleacher Report saying it. Babe saying it. And AJ, she's a champion, so those two haven't had a good, really interaction for a little bit. But after tonight, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. We talked about the women's multi-tag team match. Paul Heyman announced next week. He said, "Adam Pearce, give me the Usos, give me the Vision in a street fight at MSG." I'm like, why don't you have that for WrestleMania? Why do you have matches on free TV? Now, I can't predict the future. If I could, I would have a lot more followers on YouTube. But it's in MSG. Yes, they're going to... I'm really looking forward to next week because I think that's when all the pieces of the puzzle for WrestleMania get put together. They need to do something because we're literally not that far away from WrestleMania and we've only had 6 matches on the card over 2 nights. I think we need more. The reason why it is a street fight, it was the Usos versus the Vision in the opening match. Jey Uso wasn't feeling very Usi. Hit both Austin Theory and Logan Paul with the brass knucks. But then later in the night, Paul Heyman, he waddles down to the ring, calls out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins gets on the table. Paul Heyman's talking crap about him. And then, the officers from Boston, those wicked officers, was like, "Hey, Seth, get down." Escorted him into the back. But then Paul Heyman brought up his daughter, and Seth literally bopped him in the face. Got arrested. This is going to finally lead up to Braun coming back. Braun versus Seth at WrestleMania. Let's do it. Braun was already in rumors talking about being at the Performance Center. This match has pretty much been penciled in for WrestleMania in the eyes of the fans. We just need it to finally happen. But hernias are no joke. The main event, Dirty Dom versus Penta, ends in a win for Penta because Finn Balor came back, cleared house of JD McDonough, beat down JD McDonough while Dirty Dom scurried out of the ring. Now, here's the thing. Glad Finn's back. I'm looking forward to Demon versus Dom at WrestleMania. But what they should have done, kept Finn off TV for just a little bit longer. Until Mania, have Dirty Dom reach that top rope. As he's going to go for that frog splash, lights go out, little doom, doom. That's all you need. That's all you needed, the little doom, doom. hint that the demon's coming back. The demon slowly rising from the ashes. And then you can have Dirty Dom get countered, Canadian Destroyer, 1, 2, 3, Penta wins. Now, the biggest part of the show, Danhausen once again appeared, and that man is overhausen. I Show Speed came out. I Show Speed, he's one of those streamers. Don't know much about him. I know he's got like 1 billion followers. He was in the Rumble 2024, or 2025, got speared out of his boots. But Danhausen cursed Speed, and that's really all you got to do for Danhausen. Keep having him come out, putting a little curse on him until he gets healthy, and it's really perfect. Really, really perfect. And then the main event, the main event of the program was CM Punk came out. Usos came out. They went back and forth. Jimmy's like, stop. Jay's like, no. Roman came out. They were talking, and then, they were going back and forth. A lot better than last week's. Roman hit Punk with the Superman punch. Hit Punk with the spear. Put Punk through a table. But then Punk was like, he should have sold it more. Play dead. You just got speared, punched, and put through a table, and you were kind of conscious. So I don't like that. But it was a good Raw. It was a good Raw. I don't think I'm missing anything. Let me think. Let me do my little Rolodex. No, it was a good Raw. Happened every Monday since 1993, except when the dogs took over. Today is a very important day in the history of professional wrestling, because today, 25 years ago, the WWE bought WCW from Turner Broadcasting. Stamford, Connecticut, March 23rd, 2001. WWE Entertainment announced its purchase of World Championship Wrestling from Turner Broadcasting System, a division of AOR Time Warner. So, one of the biggest acquisitions, the official nail in the coffin of the Monday Night Raw, the Monday Night Wars was won by WWE. We're going to talk all about that, because I really, we all remember in just Shane McMahon coming out. The contract does say McMahon, but it says Shane McMahon. I now own WCW. I'm going to go over the invasion angle. I have it in my mind. I'll probably do it later in June when it starts heating up, but today is a huge day. The purchase of WCW creates a tag team partnership with the WWE brand that is expected to propel the sports and entertainment genre to new heights. You can tell this was edited because it wasn't WWE at the time. It was WWF. Strategic move. We are assuming a brand with global distribution and recognition. We are adding thousands of hours to our tape library. XFL. But yeah, so today was the day. Big news. McMahon defeated Ted Turner and won the Monday Night Wars. But there is also one thing I want to talk about, because we didn't do it last show, because Chuck Norris passed away. So we kind of talked a little bit about Chuck Norris. But we are going to go back in time. We got the phone. It's going to start ringing. Oh. Hello? Yes, we're doing this once again. Of course. It is a special day for me. No, it's not my birthday. My birthday's in a couple of months, though. Yeah, no, it was a really good cheeseburger. Okay. I'll let him know. Yeah, March 23rd, 1997. Okay. All right, bye. Yes, that's right. We're going back. We're going to review another retro WrestleMania. This one, WrestleMania 13. March 23rd, 1997 at Rosemont Horizon in Illinois. Now, why is that such a special date? Because that is the official start date of when your boy, Brat Jaxon, became a die-hard wrestling fan. I'll tell you a story. Growing up, me and my brother shared a room. I had the top bunk, he had the bottom bunk. One day, He's sitting on his bunk, got TV on. He's watching WrestleMania 13. I come down, I sit next to him, I start watching, and I haven't stopped since. And WrestleMania 13 to me was a very important day. Was it a great WrestleMania? We're gonna go through the card. We're gonna talk about the card. So this is early on into the kind of the last WrestleMania before the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era officially begun. Montreal Screwjob. That's when I say the Attitude Era begun. So this is kind of like in the middle. So we start off with a 4-way elimination match to determine the number 1 contenders for the WWF Tag Team Championship. Mosh and Thrasher, which their gimmick was a little bit ahead of their time, or it was perfect for their time, defeated Doug Furnas and Phil LaFawn, Henry O. Godwin and Phineas I. Godwin, which Henry O. Godwin is hog, and Phineas I. Godwin is pig, and they were pig farmers. They defeated the new Blackjacks, Blackjack Bradshaw, which became JBL, and Blackjack Wyndham, which is the uncle of Bo and Bray Wyatt. So, Headbangers won. Then you got Rocky Maivia taking on the Sultan, a.k.a. Rikishi, for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. This is really like the first match I remember watching that night. Rocky Maivia, before he was The Rock, when he was, got help for his daddy. Great match. That was kind of like, hey, I realized, what is my brother watching? I'm going to go watch it with him. Hunter Hearst Helmsley with Chyna defeated Goldust with Marlena. Now, I always thought that Chyna debuted at this pay-per-view, but she debuted like a week or so before that, and I remember her like shaking Marlena like a crazy monster. I remember that. That was a much better WrestleMania for Triple H than the year before. Owen and the British Bulldog versus Mankind and Vader for the Tag Team Championship ended in a double countout. And then this was a match to change everything. Bret Hart defeating Stone Cold Steve Austin via technical submission in a no disqualification submission match with Ken Shamrock as the special guest referee. We all remember Bret Hart put Stone Cold in the sharpshooter. Stone Cold's bleeding. That crimson mask. And Austin refused to give up. And that made Bret Hart the winner. Bret walked in the good guy. Austin walked in the bad guy. Bret walked out the bad guy. Austin walked out the good guy. A double heel turn. And then you got a Chicago street fight. Ahmed Johnson and the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal defeated the Nation of Domination, Farouk Crush and Savio Vega. And then the main event, The Undertaker kept the streak alive before it was a streak, defeated Psycho Sid by pinfall in a no disqualification match for the WWF Championship, and Psycho Sid pooped his pants. True story. This was a little bit different. I know they wanted to do Bret versus Shawn 2 at WrestleMania, but Shawn lost his smile and went home. And unfortunately, 8 matches, one with the free-for-all, Billy Gunn defeated Flash Funk. What other matches would you add there? Let's see. The event was attended by 18,000. Let's see. Lackluster reviews. I don't care what Dave said. Ken Shamrock would call it one of the greatest wrestling matches of all history. And that match, yes, that's true, would later be inducted as the inaugural Immortal Moment recipient of the WWE Hall of Fame. I remember I was there when they came out, and Bret could have been anywhere else in the world because he did not want to be there. So that's a little WrestleMania retrospect. We'll have a couple more before WrestleMania starts. Now, I do want to break a little bit of news here. I am going to do a Brat Said That series of me rebooking every WrestleMania. A lot of it is going to be by the books, how it was, change a couple of results, add a couple of superstars in that, should have been, could have been, would have been. But it's going to be good. I'm going to do 1 through 10 Wednesday, 11 through 20 the next Wednesday, 20 to 30. Man, that's a lot of stuff. I'll make sure I get a good showing of it, and then I'll post it on my YouTube. Follow me, Brat Said That tube. But a couple more things when you stay in wrestling, because you know the wrestling is a huge chunk of the show. We talked about AAA, the Rey Del Reyes, Part 1. They had Part 2 just the other day. Nothing too crazy. Ray Phoenix, Mr. Iguana, and Lola Vice defeated La Harijo and Money Machine. So, listen, watching AAA is like watching a whole different world. Absolutely whole different world. And I love it. AAA World Tag Team Championship match. Pagano and Psycho Clown wrestled the War Raiders, ending in a chaotic no contest. I see chairs and kendo sticks and wow. And then Dirty Dominic presented the original El Grande Americano or El Grande Americano Kaiser with the Rey Del Reyes sword. And it was funny because Dominic was on the microphone. He was talking down El Grande Americano Kaiser. And to the English-speaking audience, they had Rey Mysterio narrate it, translate it, and Dom was talking bad about Rey, and Rey was forced to translate what Dom was saying. So, they're definitely doing something good with El Grande Americano, Kaiser, Grande Americano, Gable. I don't think they did anything this night on Raw, but that's a match they should put on WrestleMania. I think Kaiser's stealing with Grande Americano gimmick is a lot higher than, say, Gable's. So, I think Gable would lose his mask and, move on to being Chad Gable again. But what a good gimmick. AEW, we talked last show about Toni Storm leaving for an extended period of absence. Now, it's spreading over the internet that she might be pregnant. So, if it's true, congrats to Toni Storm. Congrats to Juice Robinson, because they're a real-life couple in life. So, if Toni Storm has a little juice box of her own, congrats. But yeah, that's really like wrestling right now. SmackDown, Raw, no other news to really talk about, nothing, no breaking news. Raw next week is going to be in MSG, and I know some people that are going to go there, so I hope they have fun. Get a Danhausen shirt. UFC this weekend, or last weekend, UFC London, a lot of drama happened. Movsar, Evloev, messed that name up once again, and I've heard his name 30,000 times this weekend. Defeated Lerone Murphy by majority decision. I have the scorecards right here. I want to look at the scorecards. So, UFC scorecard. We have Ben Cartledge in the white judge, white corner judge. He scored it 48-46 because the fourth round, Evloev, E-V-L-E, he lost the point. The blue judge, Derek Clearly, same thing, 49-46, lost the point in the fourth round. And then the yellow judge, Clem's Werner, tied it up. He gave the only round that was different to, 10-9, 9-9, 10-9. Now, so he gave, there's a lot of numbers here. He gave the first round to Lerone Murphy. So it's very, very close decision. Majority decision, which obviously two referees given one, and then one referee has it a draw. It goes to the person with the two decisions for them. Michael Venom Page was not happy with his performance. He faced Sam Patterson, and he was just it was a backlash. He was not happy. He addressed the fans. Let's see. Before explaining the potential, I don't know what he said, but he's in negotiations with the UFC. We'll see. I like Michael Venom Page. He was supposed to be that next big Bellator star to come over, and ever since he's coming to the UFC, He's, he won his first fight. He's actually on his pretty good. Lost to Ian Gary, but Ian Gary might get the #1 contendership. And now on a 3-fight win streak, all with decision wins. Hasn't really kind of impressed anybody too much, but I can see MVP winning a few, getting that title shot coming up, but he wasn't happy with the fight. He wasn't happy. He won the fight by unanimous decision. We'll go over the card and see what happened. Michael Page defeated Sam Patterson. Christian Leroy Duncan defeated Roman Deleuze. And, fight of the night, Mason Jones versus Axel Sola. Performance of the night, oh my God. Iwo Barnowski and Chanel Dyer. So good for everybody. Get that nice $25,000 bonuses. Actually, it's in the UK. So what is that over there? What is it's not dollars, pounds. So get those UK pounds. One thing I really need to talk about, because I forgot about it for the last 2 shows. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Gazim Salmani, who was Rizar from AOP, from ACOM, and Rizar won his fight, second round knockout. I've been meaning to talk about that, but I keep forgetting about it. So I made sure, hey dummy, talk about it on the show. So I am talking about it now. So congrats to him. I would love to see him fight more in the BKFC. That I love bare knuckle fighting, how you should fight with your knuckles and anger. MVP Carano versus Rousey. Philip Lins is out of the fight against Francis Ngannou. Ngannou's now going to fight Austin Lane. We can look at Austin Lane and see, he just lost. Wait, he just lost yesterday. So how is he fighting Ngannou? Francis Ngannou? What is it? Let's see. I don't know. I could have sworn, maybe I read it wrong, or next fight is supposed to be about Philip Lins, but I guess I'm totally wrong with that, what I said, because I could have swore that he just, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Let me see. Philip Lins. Not Philip Lines, Philip Lins. Oh, it's Felipe. What? Lins is out against his May 16th fight against Francis Ngannou. Austin Lane was stepping to fight Lins in France. So, I'm not right. Oh, so I'm right. Anyway, the fight card's going to be cool. Rousey, Carano. I see Rousey's going to beat Carano. You know, it's funny. There is somebody that I'm kind of close to, which you would never think about. But going back at Smith's, my job, I've been talking to Keith Kaiser. He used to be the Nevada State Athletic Commission commissioner. And we talk about boxing all the time. He's a really cool guy. Shout out to Keith. But yeah, so speaking about that, Ultimate Fighter announced the women's strawweight and men's bantamweight will be the 2 divisions for the next tough season. Applications are live in their bio and will air on Paramount Plus. I love the Ultimate Fighter. It's, they changed the format. It's so boring now. Now, we're going to talk about the Ultimate Fighter because they just announced a new season. I don't know the coaches or who is going to be fighting, but my favorite, Ultimate Fighter 5, Nate Diaz. You had Jens Pulver, BJ Penn, 2007. Ultimate Fighter, Season 7, Quentin Rampage, Forrest Griffin. Ultimate 9 was my favorite, actually. Dan Henderson, Michael Bisping. 10, Quentin, Rashad, Kimbo, rest in peace. And then, Ultimate Fighter 14, Bisping and Jason Miller with the bantamweight featherweights for the first time. The Tough Live 15. Tough Live. Then it kind of lost its muster, I haven't really cared too much about these last few seasons. I don't care too much about the family aspect. I care about the house aspect. You know, it's cool to get the background of these fighters, but I don't need like all these. It's been the same format for the last 4 or 5 seasons. You know, give these people the house, let them get drunk, let them have fun. There was international seasons too, but I mean, it did provide a lot of good champions. You know, Forrest Griffin in the first season, Rashad Evans, Bismuth, Matt Serra, Tony Ferguson, T.J. Dillashaw, Io Quinter never got the championship, but you know, even if you don't win the fight, you might, like Juliana Pena. She became the women's bantamweight champion. Carla Esparza, that season when they won it, that was a prize. Kamala Usman, Brandon Moreno, Alexander Pantoja, Nico Montano. That was not a good one. And then, you know, so it's had a history of being really good, but not recently. Not recently hasn't been good. You know, I'll check it out. You know, sometimes when they had the whole McGregor-Chandler season, and that fight's never happening. Like, I don't want to, like, I keep, like this, there was a lot of MMA personality I've been following for decades. They need to stop talking about Conor McGregor because he's never coming back to fighting ever. But, so, that was the MMA portion. NFL, we got a little bit of good news for the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce signs a 3-year, $54.7 million deal to come back to the Kansas City Chiefs. So, you're going to get Kelce and Taylor Swift for another 3 years. Seahawks signed wide receiver Jaxon Smith-Njigba to a 4-year, $168.6 million contract extension. So good for him. No relation, but wow. MLB, I'm going to talk about it. We're gonna shift a little bit. I want to talk about it. It just happened. The Brat Said That drafted their first team, and we're going to talk about the first ever Brat Said That team. It was a fun draft. You know, it took about an hour, but the team is. We're going to go over the team. Tell me what you think. Tell me if it's a good team, bad team. Too early to tell, but starting catcher from the Colorado Rockies, Hunter Goodman. First baseman from the Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Second base from the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve. Third baseman from the Cleveland Guardians, Jose Ramirez. At shortstop from the Texas Ranger, Corey Seager. Outfield from the Boston Red Sox, Jarren Duran. Outfield from the Cleveland Guardians, Stephen Kwan. Outfield from Washington, James Wood. And the utility player from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Brandon Lowe. The starting pitchers from the Miami Marlins, Sandy Alcantara. From the New York Yankees, Max Fried. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Jacob Mizorowski. From the New York Yankees, Carlos Rodon. From the Atlanta Braves, Chris Sale. From the Chicago White Sox, Sir Anthony Dominguez. And from the Houston Astros, Josh Hader. And the reserves, Ozzie Albies, Jackson Holliday, Kazuma Okamoto, John Carlos Stanton, and William Contreras. So that's the team. I was shocked to get John Carlos Stanton the very last pick. Now, I know he has a history of being hurt, but healthy John Carlos Stanton is a good John Carlos Stanton. Jackson Holliday, I kind of drafted late just because I like the kid. I know Carlos Rodon, he's out for the Yankees, but, you know. And then I like it. You know, a lot of people are like, why you draft Jose Altuve? I mean, he's a good player. He's a cheater, But, second baseman and outfield. So we'll see. Brat Said That team. I feel like I got a good team. Hunter Goodman, I don't know who that is, but, a lot of roster, 99, 100%, 97%. I think the lowest starter I have is Brandon Lowe. I did make a trade. I was trying to wait for a trade. My trade offer was rejected, so never mind. But, yeah, that is the MLB. That is the Brat Said That team. But the MLB season is starting so soon. Just 2 more days. Yes, starting with the Yankees versus the Giants. And I want to talk about the power rankings going into the season. The power rankings 1 day ago on MLB.com. I'm going to just say the top 10. Each team is listed with the rankings for my previous poll conducted in early January. Dodgers, of course, number 1. Number 2, Blue Jays. 3, Mariners. 4, Yankees. Mets are 5. Phillies are 6. Red Sox are 7. Cubs are 8. Tigers are 9. And the Orioles are 10. Let me see how the White Sox are. I'm still scrolling. And they're 26. So there were signs of life last year, and there's every reason to think the White Sox will be better in 2026. I sure hope so. But yeah, season begins in just 2 days. So excited. Cannot wait. I don't know. Obviously, let's see. What is this? This is a first team power rankings. Yeah, so Dodgers, Blue Jays, Mariners, Yankees, Mets. So it's going to be a long season, guys. I'm excited. I am so excited. Sports Illustrated ranking all 30 MLB managers. So let's see who the first 5 are. Let's see. Dave Roberts from the Dodgers. Terry Francona from the Reds. Kevin Cash from the Rays. Alex Cora, Red Sox. Tigers, AJ Hinch and Pat Murphy from the Brewers. Aaron Boone is rated number 10. I know everybody's wanted that guy to be fired, but I don't think so. Will Venable, the White Sox, 23. And the worst head coach is Kurt Suzuki from the Angels. So, yeah. Good for them. So, hopefully the White Sox do good this year because I'm sick of seeing them lose. MLB standings. We're going to talk about the MLB. It is almost postseason for the MLB. And we're going to talk about which teams have clinched. Now, the Detroit Pistons clinched number 1. And let's see. Oklahoma City and the Spurs. So no other team clinched. Kind of the same thing we've been talking about. Mavericks are just right there just to be eliminated. Lakers, number 3 seed in the Western Conference. Suns, Clippers, Blazers, and Warriors all vying for that play-in. Hornets are sneaking into the playoffs. Hello, Hornets. Heat, Magic, and 76ers. Pistons, Celtics. They were just on Raw. Knicks, Cavaliers. So, it's gonna be a good playoff. The Thunder and the Spurs. It's gonna come down to those two in the West. Pistons, Celtics, Knicks. So, but unfortunately, if you're a Pacers fan, Wizards fan, Nets or Knicks, or I'm not Knicks, Kings or Jazz fans, you are eliminated. Yes, you were eliminated. But a lot of more teams are going to clinch, but it seems the only 3 teams that did clinch are the Thunder, Spurs, and Pistons. Celtics and the Knicks are right there neck and neck for that number 2 seed. So, wow. NHL, we're going to look at the NHL. We have been hardcore on the Buffalo Sabres. They have been looking phenomenal. Absolute phenomenal. They're going to clinch the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. I am going to have to get a Sabres shirt to wear, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be sad with the Sabres in the playoffs. Okay? They might even be my new team. No, I love the Penguins and the Avalanche. Look at the standings. I know the Avalanche clinched the playoffs. Let's see, division. Sabres, Lightning. Sabres are 95 points. One of the best teams in the league. Wow, that is insane. Hurricanes, the number 1 seed. Sabres, number 2 seed. The Blue Jackets, number 7 seed, guys. Talking about those franchises, too. Wow. The Islanders looking to get that sneaky last spot in the playoffs. The Penguins, they're the 6th seed. Oh, no, I don't want the Sabres and the Penguins to have to face each other. But Eastern Conference, Western Conference. Oh, breaking news. Both the Avalanche and the Stars have clinched the playoffs. So Avalanche, 102 points. They are the number 1 seed in all of hockey. They're going to win the President's Cups. And breaking news. The Vancouver Canucks are eliminated from the playoff contention. So, Canucks, they're out. They did really bad. Really, and the Rangers are not looking good at all. But good for the Sabres. Good for the Blue Jackets, too. We're going to see some teams in the playoffs that we haven't seen in a very long time. But one person we've seen in the playoffs many, many times, Alex Ovechkin reaches his 1,000th career goal, including playoffs, joining a guy named Wayne Gretzky as the only other player to reach this milestone. So, Ovechkin was always on that opposite team. Penguins, Capitals. Capitals beat us, the Golden Knights in 2018. Golden Knights, by the way, they are the 2nd seed in the Pacific. 78 points. So they are doing really good too. But speaking about doing really good, guys, we are moving on to March Madness. Now, we talked so much last show about the first round. We are going to go dive into the second round now. My Final Four is all still very, very nice. But we're going to talk about the games, the craziness, the absolute craziness of, oh no, that's bracket. That was last year. I need this year, my friend. But yeah, there's a lot of, let's see. I got 45 points. Max I can get is 165, which isn't bad. Let's see. It's round 2. Duke TCU. I got Duke winning. Duke won 81-58. St. John's versus Kansas. I had Kansas winning. I'll be honest. But St. John's, good for them. They won by 2 points. Crazy overtime win. Or crazy last-second win. They now face Duke. So I got that right. I got Duke moving on. I lost Louisville, Michigan State. I had Michigan State winning. Louisville, 77-69. And then UConn, I had winning. But I didn't have UCF winning. I had UCLA winning. Wait. I had UConn winning. So Michigan, UConn, I got that pretty well. Florida, I had moving on. But they lost to Iowa. I have Florida moving on to the Sweet 16. But Iowa threw a wrench in their plan. I had Nebraska winning against Vanderbilt. Now it's going to be Nebraska over Iowa. Illinois, I had defeating North Carolina, but VCU overcame and won against North Carolina. I had Illinois winning. Illinois moved on. Houston, I had winning over Texas A&M. So Houston is moving on to the Sweet 16. On the West, complete madness. Complete madness, no pun intended. I had Arizona winning the whole thing. They're still winning. They defeated Utah State. They're going to face Arkansas. I got both these games wrong. Wisconsin and Hawaii, they both lost. High Point, Arkansas. Arkansas is moving on to face Arizona. BYU, I had Texas winning. I had BYU winning over. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Purdue facing Miami, I had Purdue winning. So Purdue versus Texas now. Arizona moving on to the Sweet 16. And let's see. Michigan, I got winning. Texas Tech, Alabama, they both won. And moving on. Yo, McGrady, are you going to Raw next week? I'm talking about March Madness. So, Tennessee, Virginia, I had Tennessee winning. But Virginia, I don't fucking know how to tell. And then Kentucky, Iowa State, I had Iowa State winning. So, the Sweet 16, I got Duke winning. Michigan State over UConn, I got UConn. So, it's going to be, what is it? Iowa, Nebraska. I had Florida winning, but Nebraska. Just NXT. Oh, NXT. Oh, yeah, it's at Madison Square Garden. Illinois and Houston. I have Illinois winning. Who do you got for March Madness? Arizona got winning, going to the finals. And then Michigan is going to go into Iowa State. So, yeah, this bracket is making my head hurt. I have 45 points. I am 1.5 millionth in rankings. And I have a max of 165 million points. Or 165 max points. So, I would love to go. There's going to be so much indie wrestling out here, McGrady, for WrestleMania. You're coming out here, right, McGrady? We're going to get you on the show? You better. I missed you last year. But I do want to talk about a little bit miscellaneous. We still got to give out the BRATWURST award. I do want to talk about something kind of funny that I've noticed. If you remember the 2000 song, when we were all 12, 13 singing, Because I Got High, Because I Got High, Because I Got High. Apparently, Afroman, he was in a huge lawsuit. Oh, you'll be working the collective. Good, you can get me tickets. He was in a huge lawsuit. The Adams County Sheriff's Official Office in Ohio searched Foreman's home, that was his name, in Chicago on suspicions of kidnapping and drug trafficking. The funny thing is, he had cameras all over his house, and he filmed all the security or the police officers going into their room, breaking doors, and he criticized the raid and made music videos. Will you help me repair my door after an officer kicked down his door? Lemon pound cake set to the tune of Under the Boardwalk. I guess a officer ate a piece of his lemon pound cake. But he took it to court. He dressed head to toe in like an American flag. And he won his lawsuit. On March 18, 2026, a jury returned a full verdict in favor of Afroman, clearing him of any civil damages against the officers. Because the officers sued him. It's like, hey man, you can't sue me. 7 sheriff police officers sued Foreman, alleged that he used the video of the raid, invaded their privacy. He said, I got freedom of speech. After they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got the right to kick a can in my backyard, using my freedom of speech and turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do. And I think I'm a sport for doing so, because I don't go to their house, kick down their doors, and then try to play victim and see them. So, shout out to Afroman. I think that's a hysterical, little miscellaneous topic to talk about, because really, it's been like, kind of slow. One thing last night or the night before, McGrady, you probably heard a lot more about this. LaGuardia Airport had a big situation. A plane crashed into an ambulance that killed 2 pilots. Now, I have the planes up here because it's kind of, out there with all the crazy TSA and stuff. But wow, I'm glad I'm not flying anytime soon, because the lines are long. The people are already stressed out, but yeah. So prayers go to LaGuardia Airport, because that was a scary, scary sight. And also talking about passing, we haven't talked about this. We talked about all the professional wrestling stuff already, but rest in peace to Dennis Condrey. He was one half of the Midnight Express. A lot of these people, they talk about, all these tag teams nowadays. This is the OG tag team, the Midnight Express. Tag team champions with beautiful Bobby Eaton, Randy Rose in a bunch of Hall of Fames. I don't know how many. 15-time NWA Southeastern Tag Team Champion. NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Champion. So 2-time I felt like they won way more titles. Why am I not seeing this? But yeah, pretty much the tag teams of all tag teams. One of the greatest tag teams of all time. And I know Bobby Eaton just passed away earlier too, so sad to see the Midnight Express go. Jim Cornette, Dennis Condrey, Bobby Eaton. Yeah, Bobby Eaton died in 2021, so right by your house. Jeez, man, that's so scary. But the main thing we're going to talk about for the next few minutes, I don't know if anybody watches The Bachelorette, but, man, what a craziness that became. So, if you don't know, The Bachelorette was supposed to appear just the other day. But just before it was supposed to appear, The Bachelorette, whose name is Taylor Frankie Paul, was shown on beating up, I want to say her ex-lover or something, and ABC pulled the plug. Excuse me. So, I'm trying to get more of a story of it because I had it ready, but so season 20, whatever, I don't watch it. Taylor Frankie Paul, she was supposed to be, the Bachelorette, had a bunch of hunky guys try to win her over, yada, yada, yada. But 3 days before the season premiere, TMZ published a video of a 2023 assault filmed by somebody. That same day, Disney announced it in light of the newly released video. They would not broadcast Paul's season of The Bachelorette and focus on supporting the family. Let's see. Before she was cast, a 2023 domestic violence case involving Paul was publicly known. Paul was arrested in 2023, and her husband, or ex-boyfriend, Dakota Mortensen, called police to report she was assaulting him. She was charged with assault, criminal mischief, and domestic violence in the presence of a child. Wow. Court documents show that she admitted to throwing the chairs. She entered a plea to third-degree felony of aggressive assault. So, wow. So, Taylor Frankie Paul and The Bachelorette, you are officially the Bratwurst winner of this week. I had the whole thumbnail with me as a bachelor with the dead flowers and all the bachelorettes fighting with steel chairs. Because, we do talk about wrestling, we talk about sports, but we also talk about modern stuff too. I need a sip of drink because my throat is scummy. But I do remember watching all those reality competition dating shows. I Love New York, The Bachelor, Flavor of Love with Flavor Flav. Those early, mid-2000 dating shows were the best ever. And I'll tell you a little story. 19-year-old Bratty J did apply to be on a reality TV show. Yes, it was Daisy of Love with Daisy De La Hoya back in 2009. I tried to apply to be Daisy De La Hoya's love interest. But nope, I did not get selected. But it's okay because I found my love. But yeah, so what is your favorite? Oh, Real Chance of Love too. I did love that show too. A lot of, Flavor of Love with New York, Spinning in Faces, Flavor Flav from Vegas. So, what a great show. So yeah, The Bachelorette and Frankie, whatever your name is, you won the Bratwurst Award of the day. But yeah, I've been talking for an hour. We are going to be back on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. Wednesday, don't forget. Oh, I got to do a little recap song. Wednesday, I'm going to post a video on my YouTube specifically about my rebooking of WrestleMania. Let me turn that down. So, to recap the show, SmackDown and Raw, leading up to WrestleMania. 25 years ago today, WWE bought WCW, and we look back at WrestleMania 13. Toni Storm, is she pregnant? If she is, congrats to her and Juice Robinson. UFC London drama, quick, really close fight. Who's going to get the next title shot? Who's going to face Volk next? BKFC, Razar from AOP won his fight. NFL, you get Travis Kelce for another 3 years. Good for you. We will look forward to the year that Brat Said That MLB draft, a fantasy draft. NBA, it's all coming down next month to the playoffs. Ovechkin, 1,000 career goals. We looked at the bracket of March Madness. Sweet 16 is this weekend. Afroman, the Bachelorette, and the LaGuardia Airport, all in the miscellaneous section. But, guys, boys, ladies and gentlemen, follow me on Twitter, Brat Said That X. Instagram, Brat Jaxon. I might have created my own Instagram for Brat Said That. You don't know. Might be a follow in your box soon. YouTube, Brat Said That too. I'm stuck on 25 followers. Please, for the love of God, follow me. Spotify, Brat Jaxon. I'm going to start posting more audio clips on there. And bodyslam.net for all your wrestling news. But I'm getting off. My throat is killing me. I've been talking nonstop for almost an hour. We'll be back on Friday, March 27th. So, remember, with everything going on, love yourself, love each other, and love sports. Alright, guys. Good night.